Hi guys, today I wanted to do a little bit of a casual chit-chatty video. I have a couple of updates for you that I just thought I would combine all into one video. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the 2019 prices. I have started getting quotes or quote requests for guests looking to travel in 2019. Those prices are not out yet. Based on what has happened in the past, we would expect the prices to be released in early to mid-summer. Now, last year they were released on June 20th, so we can't give out quotes for packages when the packages aren't, the prices aren't out yet. So if you are wondering about 2019 prices, that's what's going on with those. The second update I have for you is on insurance, the vacation protection insurance that Disney offers through a third-party supplier. They, giving almost no notice, said they were going to suspend it for the month of January. It is now the beginning of February, and we still have not heard anything. It is still not available for us to add to our clients' trips at this time. It is February 3rd, so I still have no news on that as far as is it going to come back, if and when it comes back, what will the cost be, what are the changes going to be? No idea. All we know right now is that we are not able to add it to any reservations at this time. Okay, and the next thing I wanted to talk about are room requests, because I get a lot of these from my clients and it's clear that people don't understand. So when I have a lot of quote requests where clients are saying they want connecting rooms, adjoining rooms, rooms next to each other, or they'll say things like, we would like adjoining rooms, if not, rooms next to each other is okay. Well, Disney does not work that way. I cannot book adjoining rooms. There are very few circumstances. For example, if you were booking 2 standard rooms at Pop Century, which hold 4 people, or over the age of 3, or I should say 3 and up, and it is 1 adult and 4 kids, all over the age of 3, then they would have to give you adjoining rooms, because legally you have to have an adult with the kids, and you don't have enough adults to split between 2 rooms. So they would have to make sure that you have adjoining rooms in that case. If you do not legally require it for the accompaniment of minors, they do not have to provide it for you. We can put in requests. We can make requests on our client's behalf and say they would like adjoining rooms, connecting rooms, rooms next to each other on the same floor, in the same section. We can definitely do that. And Disney absolutely tries their best to accommodate requests, but they're just that, they're requests, they're not guaranteed. And another question I get in that same vein is, when will we know? Rooms are not assigned until check-in, and this does not mean you're not going to know if you do online check-in ahead of time. You're not going to know when you check in online. When you check in online, you still have to go to the front desk of your resort. It's just a separate line, and that line typically moves faster and is usually shorter, likely because it moves faster. So it is not until you are at the resort, at the online check-in desk, where you are actually given your room and will know where you are located. So if you absolutely want to be together, if that's a deal breaker for you, the only thing you can do about that is book a room or suite or villa that holds that many people, that will guarantee that. Otherwise, you have to be okay with possibly being split up. Like I said, we can always make requests, and Disney does try their best to accommodate. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is an update with the minivans. I've had a lot of questions on this regarding, do you know when Disney is going to expand to other resorts? Have they expanded to other resorts? That sort of thing. So what I have heard, there's a couple of things. First, I've heard that some guests have had success going to the resort where they are not staying and using a minivan from there, or requesting a minivan from their resort if it is not an official Disney minivan resort at this time. But Disney does not advertise that, so you would never want to count on that. I think that just maybe has to do with availability, and if you have a nice cast member that's willing to help you out, and if there is very low usage at that time, if there's a lot of minivans available, they might be like, hey, yeah, you can go ahead and use it. We're clearly not using them anyway. But that is not guaranteed at this time. So I have not had any update on them expanding to other resorts. However, we just got, in the very end of January, we just got a news update regarding the minivans, and I'm gonna read that to you. A new program that they are piloting. It says, let me just get to the point of it here. They are piloting a limited route to Orlando International Airport, and that's the airport code MCO. Orlando has a couple of airports, so you want to make sure if you plan on using Magical Express to fly into and out of Orlando International Airport, and that's MCO. So they're piloting a limited route to MCO. It does not say from, only to. It says, we have expanded this pilot to include club-level guests at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club resorts, Disney's Boardwalk Resort, as well as Disney's Wilderness Lodge Resort. Interested club-level guests may arrange this service through a concierge cast member. We are also exploring a route that would allow select guests to take minivan service to Port Canaveral Cruise Terminal at a later date. Disney's Magical Express and service provided by Mears will remain available for all of our Walt Disney World Resort guests. So it does not say anything about the cost. I'm assuming that means it's same as any other minivan trip, but that's what they're doing right now. I do think it's interesting that they're going to add this service or pilot this service with some of the same people who already have access to the minivans within Disney World before expanding it to other resorts. I'm not sure why. The only thing I can think of is maybe with the surveys that I know Disney's always taking surveys, maybe the largest interest was among the deluxe resort guests. And that does make sense because those are very expensive rooms, especially the club level rooms. And I can see why those guests might be less patient and willing to wait for Disney transportation because they are paying so much. They might say like, we don't want to spend all of our time waiting. We paid all this money for, our hotel and our room. So I don't know if that's why, but yeah, I was kind of surprised by that, but that's the only update I have for minivans. It's still only technically for the same deluxe resorts, and now they're piloting this new program for club level guests at a couple of the deluxe resorts to MCO. So who knows what's going to happen with that. The last thing that I wanted to talk about, just a little bit more chit-chatty here, is can you overplan your trip? Now, I know it seems like we really plan our trips, or I guess if we're being honest, really plan our trips down, to the very last detail. And I don't think that's true. When we're there, we definitely see people who plan way more than us, or who have planned more than us, I should say. And I get questions from clients who are absolutely planning down to the very last detail. And I guess my philosophy is I plan everything that I want to ahead of time, and then when I'm there, I'm a lot more laid back. I do not plan out what rides I'm going to go on when I'm there. I know a lot of people do that, and they're like, okay, we're gonna go on this ride, and then this one, and this one. It's like that, to each their own, but for me, that is really very structured. And you're not really leaving any room for if a ride is down or anything like that, which does happen. When I know my husband and I have talked about this in another video before, but one time we were there and we were heading to Splash Mountain, and we saw a man talking on his radio walkie-talkie thing to his family, and he's power walking past Splash Mountain on his way to Thunder Mountain, and he tells his family, or whoever he was with, Splash Mountain is closed. What did he say? Splash Mountain is Splash Mountain is undergoing a delayed opening. Proceed to Thunder Mountain. proceed to Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. That's what he said. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we were just laughing so hard. I mean, they were serious, you know, they were gonna do, you know, communication, and it was just so funny. That's not exactly the way that we operate. We are a lot more laid back. And I mean, yes, some of that does come with the fact that we have been there so much where we know what rides we want to do. You know, a lot of rides like, let's see, let me think. Jungle Cruise, that is definitely not a must do for us every time. We haven't done that in a while, actually. You know, so we do know our favorite rides, and, you know, we go for those. But I think that also goes to show why you don't want to do the bare minimum. That is why I am not a fan of doing, you know, 4-day base tickets, 1 day in each park, because you're going to go on rides that you love and are your favorite, and then you're going to go on rides where you're like, oh, you know, that was kind of a waste, but you're not gonna have time to do your favorites again, you know, that kind of thing. So I think you have to be more structured if you're doing the bare minimum as well. So that is a big part of why, you know, we like to go a little bit longer, because we can go at a more relaxed pace, and you don't have to be so crazy about it in power walking through the parks on your walkie-talkie and whatever else. Unless that's what you want. You know, if you want to power walk and on your walkie-talkie, that's fine, but it just cracked us up. Nothing wrong with that, but, and they were very, you know, they had a plan. They had a plan in place, so good for them. But we have found that planning out in the beginning really allows us to be more laid back while we are there. You know, we have our table service dining reservations ahead of time, and we don't have one per day. There are a couple of days where we might have two, but there are days where we don't have any. And then we have our fast pass reservations. We don't plan out in advance which quick service restaurant we're going to eat at. That was poor English. But I did show how on the back of my park plans, I do make a list of the quick service restaurants and a very brief description of the kind of food they serve there. That is more for dietary reasons and hangry reasons. I have a very sensitive stomach, and I have IBS, and I don't want to, you know, potentially risk, because I'm hangry and it's like, okay, let's just eat whatever and I'll risk it. And then, you know, like be in agony and have, you know, these horrible stomach cramps for the rest of the day, and ruin your day at Disney. That's obviously not ideal. And the other thing is, we usually go in August when it is very hot, and like I said, I get hangry. I'm very much affected when I have low blood sugar and I'm hot and tired and, you know, just starving, and then I can't think. And my husband's like, okay, let's just get something to eat, just pick something. I'm like, I can't think, I don't know what I want to eat, I don't know what I can have. So this just works out well in that situation, because I just can't think when I'm really hot and hungry. But that's not, you know, like I said, we don't pick specifically what quick service restaurant we're gonna eat at. I just have a list of them. I make a list of all of the quick service restaurants. For example, on Magic Kingdom Day, I make a list of all of the quick service restaurants that have food that I know I can eat, or, you know, that I know there's something here I can eat. And then just, like I said, very brief. At Columbia Harbor House, for example, I would put like clam chowder, and at Casey's Corner, hot dogs, that kind of thing. Okay, bad examples because I know what's there. But, you know, there are some that I haven't eaten at every single quick service restaurant that I don't, you know, so I don't know what is at every single one and whatnot. So, yeah, we don't, I think we don't plan quite as much as people think. The other thing is Disney is really great about making substitutions and modifying meals for you if you have specific dietary needs. So I don't think you should ever worry about that, because, you know, you're like, oh, I don't know, I can't go because I have these special dietary concerns. Because I've had guests say that to me as well, and I know it can be very stressful when you're like, I don't know what I can possibly eat there. Disney is by far the most accommodating place I have ever been to or heard of in my entire life in that regard, and they really do their very best to accommodate in, you know, a lot of times the chef will come out and talk to you, and you know, and he'll tell you what you can eat, what you can't. They'll prepare something special for you, so don't worry about that. I got off on a little tangent there, but I guess not really. My point is, you don't have to be super stressed about these things and planning every little thing out to the very last detail, because they really help you out. They want you to have a good time. Yes, it's expensive. I mean, it's expensive to go to Disney. That's just the reality of it. But I think that's a good reason why you want to enjoy it and try not to pack too much in, because if you're too structured, I just can't imagine it, you know, it being fun. It can get very overwhelming, especially for little kids, you know, when they're just tired and it's so overstimulating, you know, like with everything going on. You know, you have this parade here and the fireworks there and everything at once, and they're tired and they're hungry and they're hot and whatever else. So yes, that is my 2 cents on can you overplan. I absolutely think you can. My opinion is do the work ahead of time, plan out your dining and fast passes, and give yourself enough time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a little bit random, but I just had a couple of random things that I thought I didn't really want to put in their own video. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.